Greetings, Jelly Spoons, and welcome back to another episode of Monday Madness, the Monday show where I talk about anything and everything. And this week, the votes on my Patreon and on Instagram are in. You guys want another improvised story time? I can do that. And you guys voted for dark and romantic. So, let's get cracking and make you a story, shall we? Trigger and content warning. Having filmed this video and come back to the start again. Yeah, this is just dark. Trigger warning for pretty much everything. Gore, violence, death, injury, more death, sadness, angst, nothing too graphic, nothing like that, don't worry, but definitely dark themes, blood, gore, violence, heavy on the violence, and just sadness. So if you're not in the mood for that today, then it's not too graphic, but if you're not in the mood, you're not in the mood, so skip this video, maybe come back another time. Alright, for those of you who are in the mood for horrific horrors, let's dive in. Now, usually I would do something like pulling words that you guys are giving me out of a hat, or rolling something random from a D&D textbook, or using songs from playlists. Today, I am not doing any of that because I have just got an extra job and I am incredibly busy. It's all good, don't worry, but I haven't had the time to organize anything like that, so I'm just gonna create a story for you, right here, right now. This video may be very long. I'm going to try not to cut it so that you guys know that this is just coming straight off the top of my head. So for all the uncomfortable pauses and the ums, ahs, and I can only apologise right here and now. So, alright, a dark romance story. Well, you know me, so it's going to be rainbow fruity as hell. Or maybe not. Maybe, for once, I will not go full-on gay boys being gay. Maybe this time we will do, I don't know, a sweet asexual romance. I feel like I might accidentally stray into the territory of a couple of the characters from the Black Dog podcast. Which, by the way, up and coming, I had to bleep out a little bit just then because I gave a spoiler away. So, my first cut of the video. It'll be coming hopefully later this year. I'm going to start posting episodes. It might not be ready for Pride Month. So, as I said in previous videos, what I'll try to do is put the finale out in Pride Month maybe next year. But hopefully by the end of 2024, we will have at least the first 5 episodes of the Black Dog out. So, if you like fantasy worlds, if you like LGBT romances, if you like slow burning romance, if you like pining angst, if you like found family and adventures, then you might just like the chaos that is my podcast. Alright, back to this video. So, some sort of romance. Let's conjure up a character first. We need a character. It's me, so it's gonna be a guy. And, well, to fit the theme of this video, dark and romantic, I'm gonna make them a goth boy. Desperately going into Vax'ildan now. If Kat is watching this video, she will, and anyone who has RP'd with me as Vax'ildan will know that my Vax'ildan is very dark, gothy, and romantic, very writes lots of poetry by candlelight, very plays a few pranks occasionally, but my version of him in the AU that I often play is a very brooding, but not in an annoying way, Vax'ildan. He is very, very eloquent. He has lots of poetry to him. He's an Edgar Allan Poe Vax'ildan. Anyway, so, not creating a Vax'ildan, so let's create this boy. Alright, his name, I will leave up to you. His name I will leave up to you guys. Throw a name suggestion in the comments down below. I will accept pretty much any of them. Alright, sorry, I've got a blue light that keeps flashing over here. It's very nice. So, atmospheric. This is a late 20s goth boy. And he is an elf. We're going fantasy with this. Why do something in the real world when you can go full fantasy? Alright, so a goth elf boy. He has either got long silver hair or long dark hair. And I can't decide which. So he's gonna have half and half. His hair is a split dye. Half bright white silver, and the other half is dark glossy black. The hair goes all the way down in sort of intricate braids and things with beads and details, all in black and white. So the white beads are on the black side and the black beads are on the white side. And it's braided and it goes down past his shoulders. He wears dark flowing robes in deep shades of very, very dark red, very, very dark purple. And he walks fast when he's in a hurry or not paying attention, but if he is trying to take in a view or talking to somebody or just have an important think, he goes very, very slowly. He strides with purpose, but it is a slow and meaningful stride. He needs a job or something that he does. Maybe he's in between jobs. Yeah, something happened. Something happened to him, so he no longer has a job. He no longer has purpose. He is looking for his purpose. He is a true antagonist in the story. He is looking for his purpose. What happened then? Well, this is dark, so we could go the route of major family trauma. We could go the route of amnesia. We could go the route of just he doesn't know what happened. I'm going to go the route of he ran away from home because he was born into the aristocracy, and he went on the road with a band. He joined a band, sort of a metal bard group, if you were, traveling around the world. And then one day, their van or cart carriage, their tour bus, the fantasy equivalent of a tour bus, it overturned. Something happened. Maybe it hit something magic. Maybe they swerved out of the way of something. Something happened, and everyone was smeared across the ground, and he was the only survivor, clinging on. Perhaps they were robbed. Perhaps some bandits appeared in the road, and the driver swerved to avoid them, and the fantasy tour bus, the carriage ended up tipping over. A few people died in the impact, and the others were picked off by the bandits. A few of them were shot because they refused to surrender maybe some of their precious magical items, maybe some of their money, that kind of thing. Some of them, maybe they were just killed because they wanted to send a message. Maybe they really hated this band. And he was the only survivor, and he felt very guilty about that. Perhaps he was thrown so far from the fantasy tour bus, the carriage. Perhaps he was thrown so far from the wreckage that they didn't spot him and he managed to crawl away. Or perhaps he was crushed underneath some things so they didn't notice that he was there. And he could only watch through the slats as they tore the place apart, took all of his money, picked the pockets of his dead and dying. He watched. Yeah, this is more traumatic. So we're going to do this. Instead of being thrown from the bus, he was trapped in place somewhere in the bus. Perhaps a few of his limbs were sticking out and they assumed that this person was dead or dying. And all he could do was watch through the slats of whatever it is that had fallen and covered his face as they not only looted the bus itself, but they looted the dead bodies of his friends and also those who were dying as well. Didn't even do them the dignity of killing them and finishing them off, just let them slowly bleed out and gurgle as they raided their pockets and stripped them of their clothes and anything else that they wanted. So how did he get out of the bus then? Well, he's an elf, so maybe he just stayed there. Ooh, okay, in this universe, the way that elves work is similar to in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, where you only need to sleep for about 4 hours, you can trance sleep. I'm going to go with the same is true for sort of food and drink. So elves can survive for a really long time before they starve, that kind of thing. They can go without food and water for much longer than humans, possibly up to a year, something like that, maybe, before it really starts to affect them. They might get slower and weaker, a bit like a vampire who hasn't had blood, that kind of thing. So this elf, whose name I will still let you guys pick, I'm very excited for this, he was trapped under this sort of rubble and wreckage, watched all his friends get looted, and then the bandits run off with all of their things, watch them take some of maybe his prized possessions, maybe his only possessions, his instruments, maybe he was it's me, so he's going to be the bassist, so they stole his bass, and so for the next almost a year, maybe 2 years, he was trapped under this wreckage in the bus, watching, over the next few days, the few friends that were still alive die and bleed out, and the dead bodies slowly turn into mush. I don't know how long exactly it takes for a body to turn to mush, but I'm gonna go after a couple of years of just being left. You're gonna have watched birds and animals pick at them. Maybe some of them were dragged away by wild creatures, some of them were torn up, and all the time, even if he closes his eyes and screws his eyes shut and doesn't look, you can still hear this noise that's happening. And beasts occasionally would come sniffing around. They would sniff, there's someone else there, there's someone else. They can smell him, but they couldn't get to him. Some of the bigger creatures, like maybe some wolves or owlbears, that kind of thing, they'd pulled at the wreckage to try to get to him, but they just couldn't, so they'd all given up and gone for the easier prey of the literal dead meat. And eventually all the friends are either skeletons that have been picked clean or just gone. Blood trails left in their wake as animals have torn them away. And all of this got him thinking, as he was lying there, And he had all the stages of grief. He had the regret of the, oh my god, is this my fault? Somehow, is there something I could have done? Replaying the events of the day over and over and over again. And it ate away, and he's going, maybe I should have just stayed at home. Maybe it would have been better. Maybe I should have just stayed in the family home and just done what everyone wanted me to do. But somewhere in the back of his mind, despite everything that he has been through and everything he has seen, while he's lying there under this wreckage, slowly feeling his body waste away, he still doesn't think staying with his family would have been better. And then, slowly, as the rain comes and the seasons change, the wood and the rubble that he is stuck under begins to deteriorate also. Some of it gets wet and rots and falls apart. Some of it splits. Some of it is just picked over by animals and used for their dens. Some of it maybe catches a light during a really, really hot and dry summer. And eventually enough of it crumbles away that he can move one of his shoulders. And then an arm. And then he realizes finally with a gentle, very slow push that he can somehow get himself out. And he checks himself over. He's bruised and battered and thin and scrawny as hell, but alive and able to stand. And he looks around and he wants to say something, to do something, to commemorate this horrible event in some way so that someone will know, but he can't think of a thing to do. There's no one he can think of to try to reach out to. There's no one to tell. They're all just gone, wiped out of existence, and in 2 years, no one's probably come looking for them, including himself. Sure, there's some people that they were supposed to be gigging with in the next few towns over that might miss them, but no one else is going to be looking for them. So, what now? A new life then. And a new life and a new identity. So, scrap that name you guys had for him already. He's going to acquire another one. And this one, he gives to himself as he starts trudging down the road. He can barely even remember which country they're in. He can barely remember which direction they came from. Maybe this forest they're in is well known for bandits, and maybe over time enough carriages went missing, enough supplies and people went missing, enough people only just escaping with their lives came back, and they built a new one. There's a new road somewhere. And so, yeah, there we go. As he tries to find the road again, he can't. Because it's been so long over those 2 years, and they built a new road somewhere, going around the forest, that there's nothing left but sort of a dirt track, and there's already nettles and bushes and branches springing up, and he can only just find where it might have once been because there's a slight clearing where there's no trees. And he stumbles out into this nettle-strewn area and looks up and down and thinks, well, it's a slightly straight, winding path. I guess this must be it. And it's the clearest path he's seen for a while, so he decides to follow it. Picks a direction. Maybe he ends up going back in the way that they came. Maybe he ends up going forwards. He doesn't know, and we certainly don't. But he walks. And as he walks, he finds berries and thistles and nettles and things he knows he can eat. And he eats those. And tries not to remember the times that they as a band would sit around procuring things from the bushes and just trying different things and hoping against hope that none of them poisoned them. He does remember not dying, though, so he does remember to eat the blue ones specifically, and definitely avoid those pink ones over there. They were not good. And he gets enough sustenance to keep on his journey. Maybe he finds a stream, manages to get some water and sustenance himself, that's a word now. And he carries on trudging, and trudging, and trudging. And eventually, the road leads to another one, and another one, and another one. And as days turn into weeks, eventually the road evens out into this big track, and he finally finds his way to a small town. And in this small town, he has no idea what he's going to do. Decides to take a look around and see if there's anything that he could offer, anything that could get him some coin. Obviously, first things first, he wants a bed for the night, but his coin is long since gone, been picked over in the rubble. He has nothing on him. There was nothing in his pockets when they were travelling. He has possibly a pick for the guitar, nothing else. Nobody really remembers him. He looks around, maybe asks around, just seeing if anyone remembers their band name, seeing if there are any posters anywhere, but no, they're long since gone. Any fame and clout they used to have, well, no one knew them in this part of the country. That's why they were touring here. And nobody has remembered them because in 2 years they haven't heard anything about them, and the industry moves fast. Other bands have come and gone. There are new posters up. There are people who have posters better, posters worse than them. And he thinks about maybe going to see them, but he can't quite stomach it just yet. He walks on through the town and avoids any of the taverns and pubs and inns that have any loud music playing, instead settling for a ramshackle, dodgy one in what can only be described as the dodgy part of town, where he settles himself by the bar, and when asked, what's your tipple, says, I got nothing, so the biggest mug of water you can give me and leave the bottle. Oh, treating yourself, are you? The bartender says. It's been a time. He still has some of that charisma that he's always had, that little bit that he used to have when he was playing in the band. They got people by the thousand flocking after the gigs, before the gigs. They were well known, they were famous. They could get anyone they wanted, and they wanted. They were bards, and they lived up to the name. They had an amazing time. And some of that charisma sticks with you even after 2 years in that horrible condition. He's not sure what to do with it, though. He doesn't feel like being close to another person, not after what he saw happen to all of his friends, but he also desperately wants to be close to another person, but knows he has no clout or money to get him there anytime soon. So it takes the biggest chug of water, and then another, and another, and another. And as the evening draws into a close, the barkeep says, no coin. Gonna have to turf you out. And he says, yes, I'll find somewhere and I'll just sleep. It's supposed to be a dry night, right? There's no rain clouds in the sky. And the barkeep is in a shady part of town and can tell that this guy possibly could once handle himself, but almost definitely can't anymore. And so the barkeep says, right, you know what? My pot wash is probably out back smoking something I don't want to know about right now. So I'll tell you what, I'll do you a deal. You spend the next 2 hours washing all the dishes in that sink for me. Bring all the dishes in from out here, wash all of them, and I'll let you stay here the rest of the week. Just to get you back on your feet. You look like, well, shit. And the unnamed guy, who is now on his second name, who has now given the name to the bartender, the brand new name, the new name that he has chosen to cover himself and start anew, thanks the barman immensely, and immediately strays into the back, picks up the pots, doesn't even put gloves on, just starts scrubbing away. And it feels so good to have something to do with his hands that he hasn't been able to use. One of them in particular has probably been trapped half underneath him for 2 years. As he was walking, he was finding himself just touching his own hair, his clothes, leaves, things he found on the ground, something to do with his hands. The calluses reopening from 2 years of having not played at all, and just scrubbing these dishes. It just brought a strange amount of both joy and melancholy at the same time. And this goes on for the rest of the week. Becomes the pot wash. Carries on washing dishes the rest of the week, and has a good night's sleep every single night, gets a bath at least twice in the week, feels refreshed, vaguely, maybe 10% back to his old self. And the end of the week comes, and the bartender offers him a deal. He says, all right, well, I'll take you on. You can have this as your job. You can stay, make your way around the town, see if there's anything else you can do, come wash dishes, do things. Or I can chuck you a few gold for your trouble and you can be on your way, see what else you want to make of your life. I need to pee, give me a minute. Alright, I'm back. I have peed, I'm back. And I have not thought of anything while I was peeing. Okay, so, where were we? Pot wash. Okay. What does he do? Does he take the pot wash? Or does he take the coin? I feel like I should get you guys to pick, and then we can pick this up another day. That'll be a cool idea for a video. Let me know in the comments down below if you fancy this. I say halfway through the video. If anyone is still here halfway through this video, Let me know if you'd like me to do a sort of vote / choose your own adventure. So I'll do a sort of 15-20 minute video. You guys will vote for where it goes next. I'll give you like, 2 or 3 options, and then I'll do the next bit and the next bit and the next bit, that kind of thing. I'm definitely doing something like that on Patreon. If you want to come and do that on Patreon, I'm going to start making OCs. You guys will get to vote for things like appearance and backstory and things. Then I will do some TikToks and some videos, and I will do like their story as it goes. You'll get to vote on where it goes next, that kind of thing. So let me know if that's the kind of thing you'd be interested in. All right. Part of me says he takes the job because he decides to just keep his head down for a little bit. Part of me says he takes the coin because he's got itchy feet and he wants to get back on the road, and that bard instinct is kicking in and he just wants to travel again. So I'm gonna go he takes the coin. Thanks the guy immensely, takes the coin, and then leaves. But because this is a dark story, that was a terrible idea. It turns out that the bartender, while appreciating this person, also is into some very, very dodgy dealings. And that money does not belong to him. That money was either stolen or laundered, and the barkeep, either accidentally or on purpose, gave it away. And this guy ended up getting some. Maybe a handful, 5 gold pieces, 5 gold coins of stolen loot, which is enchanted with tracking spells. So they can track down every single piece and find out who stole it. They either belong to someone important, or they do something important. Maybe they're not just gold coins. Maybe they are mint edition, like a special edition gold coin. Or maybe they were designed to fit into some sort of code lock, and you need all of them to open it. All 25 pieces of this specific mint of gold, this specific cut. To anyone else, they look like a normal gold coin, but maybe they have a certain number of spokes in the edge, or maybe the design is slightly printed differently, or something is special and different about them, and they need it. They need all 25 to open this thing that they have got. And someone has stolen the gold, either to prevent them from opening it, or because they want to open the thing themselves. And the thing they're trying to open is the box equivalent of a genie lamp. And inside is supposedly some sort of like big genie creature, and once you let it out with all these gold coins, then it will grant you a wish, or 3 wishes, or 5 wishes, whatever it is, and they are determined to open this thing. But some little plucky rogue snuck in, some criminal snuck in, or some do-gooder, maybe some do-gooder person snuck in and took these coins. Took all 25 coins, or just 10 of them, and left them a note saying, "You will never open this, I will not let you. I can't move this box, this safe, maybe this huge thing, maybe they keep it on their person, maybe it's in a pouch of holding, that kind of thing. I cannot take the thing itself, but I can prevent you from opening it. Like, I can't take the lock, but I can take the key. And so I've taken the key. Good luck finding your missing coins." But what this person did not know before they stole the coins was that they had been enchanted so they could keep track of them. That person is now dead. Very, very dead. They found out very quickly that the coins were missing, and they immediately tracked down the first few, which this person still had in their possession. So the rogue still had them in their possession, and the rogue was obliterated. I'm talking strung up, torn open, and roasted from the inside for stealing these gold coins. But did get the final laugh. Maybe they realized that, oh shit, it had tracking enchantments on it, but they were like, you spend the rest of your life tracking it down. I sent it far away. And maybe they did. So this rogue gave this money to some vendors who they made sure, they were like, "Oh, are you traveling far? You're traveling far?" And they're like, "Yes, we're traveling." Maybe they were using magic. Maybe they were going to travel via portal. And so the rogue specifically gave money to merchants who would pass it on, essentially, to all different kinds of people as change and as payment for other things. And they were going to bamf to the other side of the map through a magic portal. And that's why it has taken these people so long to track down this piece of gold. And maybe this is the last of it. The last of the gold is now in the pocket of our poor goth boy. And he has no idea. Alright, so, widdly-widdly back to the goth boy. Okay, so he sets off. He decides he's gonna walk, you know, or maybe buys a horse. Doesn't buy a cart. Can't bring himself to be in a cart or a carriage ever again. But a horse he could do, and sets off. Fuck knows where. Maybe decides to go to a bigger town. You know, he's built up over the few days. It was about a week he was there, you know, doing pot wash, getting to know the town a little bit. Being around people took a long time to get used to again. He slowly acclimatized himself to being able to just speak again after 2 years, and being able to speak to people with a vague air of confidence. Managed to get a brush and wash up in the nearest, you know, hair salon or something, so feels a bit more himself. Maybe patched up his clothes, maybe bought a few new ones. Doesn't quite look like the glam rock star he used to be, but definitely looks like a rock star fanboy. So getting back there, but not completely. But yeah, can't do carriages. Is more confident around people though, so decides, right, you know what, there'll be more opportunities in a big town. Maybe I'll go for a big town or even a city. Consults a map, finds out exactly where he is, goes, okay, right, works out roughly, but tries not to pay too much attention, roughly where the cart crash was, and goes, right, I'm not going back that way, so heads, I'm gonna say west. Cart crash was out east, decides to go west. Further away from where he was born as well. So he was born way over in the east, far away, several countries, maybe continents over to the east. Decides to go west, and eventually gets to this huge big city, probably a capital city. Huge, goes in with the hustle and bustle, and immediately feels immediate overwhelm, and is just like completely, there's sound, there's noise, there's more people. The last place I was a tiny town, like village. I'm not sure I can do this anymore. This is too much, too many people. There's people shouting, goes through a market. As soon as you go through the gates, it sort of leads you into this market. There's vendors, there's people setting up, there's banging, there's hammering, there's a blacksmith, there's shouting, there's people calling for their children, there's people calling for their families, people trying to sell him things, people bumping into him, even on the horse. Maybe he has to dismount. Maybe as you come into the city, there's a stable, pay some money to have the horse in the stable because you can't ride your horse through the town, and so he's on foot. Yeah, so he's on foot, getting buffeted this way and that, and everything is just far too much. And he does look kind of cool, so some people are maybe trying to approach him, maybe some people try to flirt, maybe he's got some attention and he just doesn't know what to do with it. And you know, you've got on one side, in one ear every now and then, you know, sort of like, hey, you're kind of good looking kind of thing, only way flirtier than that. And you've got people going, fish over here, you know, oh, oranges, you look someone who'd like some oranges, and over here, this, that, yeah. And it suddenly just becomes ringing in his ears, and that one ear that had been pressed to the ground for 2 years, that one ear that had been pressed to the ground for a couple of years, you know, has never quite got the sound back. Everything sounds a little bit fuzzy and muted, and suddenly everything sounds fuzzy and muted, and things are blurring, and the lights are shining, and the sun is too bright. And then suddenly there's a sort of thud, and he hears the thud, and then realizes, ow, something hurts, and then he's lying on his side. And then suddenly, oh no, did I dream it all? I'm back. I'm back under the cart, under all the stuff. Several people will be crowding around, oh my god, are you okay? Doing all the wrong things that people in a panic in a crowd tend to do. And then the classic hands, gentle hands. And he hears the voice saying, like, you know, are you all right? What's your name? Hey, are you okay? And can't answer, just sort of slowly shaking his head, like, all right. And the voice is saying, all right, you know, don't need to do any of that now. Just can you stand? Can you get up? Guides him gently to his feet. Whoa, and the world is spinning still. Like, oh, easy. All right then, not letting go of you. All right then. Are you staying anywhere? Are you here with anybody? No. This is no. Just arrived. Put my horse in. Okay, all right, you just arrived. All right, that makes things easier, says the voice. All right, we will go quiet. Somewhere quiet? Yes, quiet. You look like you need quiet. Very pale. Yes, quiet. Quiet would be good. And a warm drink? Yes. All right. Warm. Warm, quiet. Definitely not. Nope, not the dancing duck. No. Quiet. God, been a while since I've been somewhere. I know somewhere quiet. And they start to lead them off. So, all right, we just got to go through this bit of the market. Okay. Feels hands pressed around his ears, and the world just goes a bit quieter. But it's a nice kind of quiet. The ringing dies down, and he can see all the chaos happening around him, but he can't hear it anymore. And there's a sort of warmth, and he hears a and some sort of spell, something magical has happened around his ears, and he feels almost like magic earmuffs sitting around his head. You can feel them like they're physical, but they're not a physical thing, it's a spell he can feel sitting on his ears. And he remembers that this spell has been used a few times before, particularly by their drummer, when they were trying to pay attention to just the beat and nothing else and drown out the crowds and things like this. And this huge rush of warmth and gratefulness and also a horrible longing for everything he used to have just comes up, and he feels a sort of choking tear come out of his throat. And the voice, where the hands are back on his shoulders now, guiding him through this market, says, "Oh, shit, man, okay, let's go." And as the magic ear pieces have dulled the noise of the crowd, they go on through, and they get to another side street, which leads to another and another. They twist and turn, go through back alleys. They see the crowds getting less and less and less and less. And eventually the streets are completely silent. Maybe there's the occasional child running past playing a game. Sometimes someone's sitting out there playing a game with a board and a friend, maybe having a drink, doing some laundry, that kind of thing. And the hands go back on his ears, and he hears a and the magical earmuffs disappear, but the sound does not return. Everything's very quiet now, and he has the hands back on his shoulders, like, easy, can you walk? You all right? And in response, just sort of like staggers and leans into a wall, and it's like, okay, no, all right, here we go. All right, no, I will lead you, that is fine. And this poor person leads him through and through and through, and eventually they get to what looks like just another house on a corner between two side alleys, curving around a very dark, dank corner, and there's like cobblestone streets, there's rubbish all over the place, and they go in through a side door, and they go into what looks like a tavern, but from the outside just look like a house. And they sort of sit down, gets plonked down at a table, and it's right by a fire. There's maybe one other person in here reading a paper. No music, just some candlelight. It's all right, sit, right, you sit right there. Try not to fall in the fire, I will be right back. And the footsteps disappear, and he blearily looks up and follows this shape of a person, and they walk up to a barkeep, and they have a chat. They seem to know each other very well. There's like a shake of hands, like, oh, yeah, I haven't seen you for a while, yeah. Gestures over their shoulder, says like two big ones. Comes back, two big, frothy, hot mugs of something. Possibly a little alcoholic and definitely full of, chocolate. A sort of warm, alcoholic, hot chocolate kind of thing. Presses it into the goth boy's hands and just like, here, I drink slowly, but as much of it as you can. It's like, yeah. Starts drinking it. Immediately warms up and starts to feel so much better. Sees the other person drink, set it down, and this other person I am going to leave as a they, them. They are going to be a tiefling, because that is my love and my heart. They are going to be a completely coal black tiefling, coal black jeweled horns, with flicks at the end that don't quite go into points. It almost flattens at the end, a bit like a spade, which they've decorated with little jewels and things, sort of like, almost like they've got a spiral of red and green gemstones wrapping around them. They've got bright red eyes, so gemstone red eyes, ruby red eyes with coal black skin that sort of glistens, almost like glistening black glitter skin. Dark hair as well, with flashes of ruby through it as well, that's flicked over one side. There we go. We'll just go with my hair, shall we? Just flicked over one side. If anyone wants to draw these characters, please go for it. Garnet. Okay, this is Garnet. And this tiefling is, fuck it, gorgeous. Like, this is a beautiful they, them, wearing very, very tight, very shapely garments. Garnet's wearing garments. We're talking very low cut, similar to, there we go, very low cut, I'm gonna go meshy, fuck it, we'll make me, shall we? A very low cut, meshy shirt, with a sort of like short sleeves, and then fingerless gloves that are tight to the skin, covered in bangles, probably probably just a bit longer than hot pants, very, very tight, probably ruby red. So the mesh top's probably red, the hot pants probably red, several belts in gold and silver, thigh-high boots with laces going up them, and the tongues of the boots have tongues on them, like sort of cartoon tongues that flop over the front, and they are high-heeled, like they are platform high heels, and they sort of lean back in the chair, and it's a very not deliberate gorgeousness. They ooze this easy charisma that they were born with. This person did not practice a day in their life. They were just born with 18 charisma. Hook an arm over the back of their own chair, sipping on this hot chocolate beverage and looking this new poor goth boy up and down, just like, so, honey, what happened? So, goth boy just breaks, and his tears streaming down his face, falling into this half-finished hot chocolate, and just says everything all at once. Like, I don't know, I haven't been around people, I don't know, I thought I could handle it, I need money, I have no money, I have some coin, but I have no money, I have nothing to do, everything went, okay, honey, okay. And this beautiful day then, Garnet doesn't really interrupt, just gives encouragement, like, okay, yeah, you tell me. And everything just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And Gothboy's trying to put it all together in his head and just keeps going backwards and backwards. So I got into town and it was just too many people, and I haven't been around people for a while. You've been traveling, you're an adventurer. No, I was on the road. I was supposed to be on the road. I should have been performing. I should have been in gigs, but I've been in this town and it was tiny, and I was pot washing because they needed a pot wash and I needed money, and I got this call. But before that, and I found this place that I was stuck. I was like, you were stuck? Oh, okay, where are you stuck? Right, sure. I mean, you look a little malnourished, not gonna lie. I was stuck 2 years, and this story just comes out. And it goes back into childhood as well, in bits and pieces, and it sort of comes back like a nightmare, you know. And I was there, and I kept thinking, this is what you get for leaving your family, and then mentions a bunch of crazy shit that happened with the family, and it's like, but this still wouldn't go back. No, honey, I wouldn't. Well, shit, is what Garnet says when this story is finished. And they sit there and they just look at each other for a while. And Garnet's like, so, you need work. I don't know, I need something I can do, but I can't do that. And he's like gesturing to outside, I can't go outside. He's like, oh, honey, I can find you things to do where you don't. We don't need to go outside for a while. That's okay. We'll warm you up. And normally that would be a come on, but for you, I will dial it back. And they slowly build this rapport. And because this video is already getting very, very long, I will say that they build a little bit of rapport, and Garnet takes Gothboy back to their house. Maybe they live in a sort of small ramshackle flat, and maybe this is a surprise, and Gothboy is like, sorry, I just, by the look of you, I didn't think you'd live here. Oh, honey, no, you've got to live where they least expect. Everyone's looking for me in the fancy district. They'll never find me here. It's the secret to being, left alone. Like, I know I'm stunning and I could get everything that I want, but sometimes what I want is to be left the fuck alone. So in that, me and you have things in common. And they laugh. And maybe for the first time, Gothboy just is like, my mouth hurt. Honey, is that the first time you've laughed in 2 and a bit years? Yeah. Well, I'm honored. And a little teary. Okay, right, so here's the bed. And we're gonna do there was only one bed. And Garnet goes to sleep on the couch in the other room. It's a very small, maybe it's a studio apartment. And in this bed, it's very big, very luxurious. It's a tiny ramshackle flat in the dodgy end of town, but the flat itself is very ramshackle. And the bed is, but the furniture is gorgeous. So inside it's glam, but from the outside you'd never know. And draws the gossamer curtains around this bed, and he tries to go to sleep and he just can't. Everything keeps playing over and over in his head, and we will do the classic, wakes up like, having all these horrible dreams, horrible nightmares. It definitely happened while he was in the tavern as well, but like, he just put himself back to sleep, or there was nothing else he could do, or he was exhausted. He deliberately worked really hard so he would have to sleep because his body just couldn't do anything else. And eventually, after this happens for a couple of times, the curtain sort of swishes back and Garnet is standing there like, honey, do you want company? And he tries to explain, and he can't quite vocalize, like, I don't want to touch anyone anymore, but I want desperately someone to touch me and be close. And Garnet gets it. Garnet gets it. Very, 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 very insightful tiefling. And so they sort of snuggle. Garnet, big spoon, and that's the cute little bit of romance that I'm gonna squeeze in there. But now for the darkness once again, because we need to wrap this video up. So, over the next few days, Garnet stays in the flat, occasionally has to go out, has to go to work. Garnet is, I'm gonna go, sort of, in D&D terms, very glamour performy bard. Very like, yeah, I play music, but I do other things better. So goes out a bit at night to do that, but that works better because during the day they're both together and hanging out, getting to know each other, maybe playing games, maybe slowly going out, maybe go out to get some lunch, and slowly just venturing out over a few days to go places that are slightly busier and slightly busier. But during the day they are together, so Garnet can look after Goth Boy while he's just like, I can't, the noise, the people, it's too much. And then at night time, when everything is quieter and slower because they are away from all the noise in the city, it's okay, and he doesn't mind being by himself. He can work out, or he can, you know, maybe he plays, maybe Garnet brings a bass for him, because Garnet can get anything from anyone. And he does sit there and slowly sort of plunk away and maybe play a little bit, and the fact that it's nighttime, it doesn't matter, because it's quiet and it's chill and it's fine. But during the day, when people are going past and there's more just noise in general, that's when he needs the company. And then, one day, a few months later, he gets brave enough to venture out by himself. And he has been bought new clothes at this point. And when he goes out, he hasn't brought any money with him. He has left it. Oh, God, I could be so mean. He's got 5 gold pieces. He has left maybe 4 of them. He's taken 1 with him, maybe looking to get it changed for some silver. He doesn't intend on spending it all, but he took 1 with him, thinking maybe if I need something, I see something, I can get it. The rest of the gold is in a pouch at the house that they are now sharing together. Been a few months. There has been some flirty banter. There has been some cutesy hand holding in the middle of the night. He's a little bit excited about what this could be, but it's scary. And he has finally ventured out by himself. And he's like, no, it's okay. I want to do this. I'm gonna just walk. He's been slowly venturing out a little bit. Sometimes at night where it feels safer, ironically, just by himself to take a few loops. And he's like, no, I think I'm gonna go to the market and I will buy us. Yes, that's why he's taken 1 gold with him and not the rest. I'm gonna buy us some lunch. I'll get us some bread and some cheese and some salad, maybe some tomatoes, that kind of thing. I will buy us something and I'll bring it back for lunch. And it's an unspoken marker for both of them. It's very big. It's something big that he is doing. And it's a sweet gesture to sort of say thank you, but it's also a big moment of like, you sure you want to go by yourself? Like, yeah, I can do it. I can go back to that market where a few months ago I passed the fuck out of just terrified overwhelm. I'm going to do it. I can do it myself. And it's all right, honey, all right. But if you're gone more than half an hour, I'm coming looking for you. And it's like, okay, thank you. Yes. Is there anything else that you would like? No, honey, your safe return is all I want. And so he goes out. Goth Boy goes out and he goes to the market and needs a few deep breaths, gets closer, does it. It's very, very noisy, gets buffeted a few times, and it's like, no, this is okay. And he just feels this small sense of calm. It still is, his heart's still beating, but he can do it. And he gets this bread and he gets some cheese and he sees a really nice bottle of wine and he thinks, yeah, I'll get that too as a sweet gesture. And he's looking around and he buys this stuff. Yeah, he spends the 1 gold. And, this just got worse because he spent the gold. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He spent the 1 gold. He comes back. He has armsfuls of bread and maybe some jam and some cheese and this lovely bottle of wine, and he gets into the house and the door's been smashed in. And the windows are broken. And he runs, drops all the stuff, runs upstairs. The top door's been smashed in and everything's all over the place. There's blood. There's dark bits of hair. There's pieces of skin. There's... I told you this was going to be dark. I'm sorry. Bedding all over the place. And he remembers as a horrible flash that Garnet was still sort of lounging half in bed when he left to go and get lunch. The chairs have been upturned, things have been knocked over, there's blood everywhere, like sprayed up the walls, and he's like, what the shit happened? And he gets back and finds all of this, and Garnet is halfway out the window, like has clearly been thrown half through it. It has smashed, has landed on a huge piece of the shard of glass, got another piece halfway through their arm, and is lying there, and has clearly been like beat the fuck up, like smashed it. You know, you can see blood pouring from all these different places, big bruise forming on the side of their face, clothing torn, everything, tatters, claw marks, everything. And runs over and is like, oh, like, I can't heal, I have no healing powers, what the fuck do I do? And Garnet is like, can't say anything, is like, what happened? Guy's like, I don't know. And Garnet manages to say, like, there were these people, they came, they said something about something belonging to them, they were looking for something that belonging to them. I don't know what it was, I couldn't see what they took. They were demanding, where is it, where are they? And I didn't know, and then they just started attacking me and threw me through the window. Did you see what they took? I don't know. What did you have something? I don't know what I could possibly have had. It's all fancy, but it's not worth very much. And he looks around and he can't see anything. Like, the base is still there, it's been smashed, but it's still there. The bedding's still there. Everything that could possibly be worth anything is still there. He can't fathom what could possibly be missing. And Garnet is slowly, I'm just glad you're okay. And the blood is slowly pouring out of their mouth. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's stronger now, you know, he's been actually fed after 2 years, pulls Garnet off all this glass and lifts Garnet like half over one shoulder, fireman carry, reaches to grab for the coin purse that he left somewhere, which he doesn't notice is open, just grabs it, throws it in a pocket, and is like, right, healer, pelts down the stairs carrying Garnet, runs to the nearest temple that he's seen people go into, and runs and is like, please help. And they're like, this person, they're nearly dead. Like, Garnet's nearly dead. Some of them maybe recognize Garnet. They're like, oh my god, like, what is happening? And he's like, I can pay you, and goes to tip out the bag. And there's nothing in it. And it vaguely twigs in his head, did they take 4 gold pieces? Like, of all the things to take, what? And maybe some of the healers are like, well, we can't heal for no money. Gothboy gobbles out this story, and he's like, I don't know, I came home and they broke it into our place. Okay, sweetie, tell me what happened, your partner, we can help them. And barely registers the fact that they've been called partners, and just goes with it. Like, I don't know, there's people, and they saw something, I have no coin. Why would they break in for 4 gold coins? What? Nothing else was taken, they just broke all our stuff. Do you owe someone money? No, we don't owe anyone any money. Like, and it's like, it's Garnet. And someone was like, yeah, Garnet, like, Garnet's like kind of doing okay. Like, Garnet's not rich, but does well enough that like all the bills are paid and they can eat perfectly fine and all the rent is paid, kind of thing. And it's like, you know, we didn't owe anyone money. I don't know what happened. It's like, oh, all right, honey. Well, you know, all right. You're not adventurous who got yourselves into trouble from, you know, poking chests that bit you. All right, we will do something, okay? And he's like, I'll wash your pots, I don't know. And has this whole moment. And they slowly and painstakingly manage to literally patch Garnet back together. All the stitches to stitch them back up from these huge slash marks. The big piece of glass that had gone all the way through, they have to pick out all these tiny pieces. They cast a spell that draws them all out, and Garnet's there like, more blood coming out of the mouth. But eventually Garnet is slowly all right. The healers are like, we're gonna have to keep them here like for a few days, you know, just to keep an eye on them and make sure they're okay. Garnet barely conscious, and they sort of managed to make a joke between the two of them, maybe like, oh, I finally got to carry you to safety for a change. And Garnet's like, oh, I'm just glad you're all right. Did you make it to the market? I bought us wine. Oh, that was so cute. I'm so proud of you. And it's so sweet and so wholesome. And then it's like, the only thing that's missing is my 4 gold coins. I don't understand, like, 4 gold? And Garnet's like, in a moment of charisma, just like, 4 gold? I did all this for 4 gold. I got thrown through a window for 4 gold. I don't know, I don't understand. And then they hear shouts and commotion. And so Garnet cannot go, has to stay bedridden. And so feeling just on a roll of like, what the fuck? And determined to solve this mystery, Gothboy runs out and sees the market in uproar. And there are these thugs, big hulking people with big claws, and one of them is like carrying this big like cart, and they're like smashing through these market stalls, and people are running all over the place. There's blood everywhere, and they're just like, we're getting back! And it's like, imagine Pirates of the Caribbean 1 where they're looking for their gold coins, but on steroids, and they're all just looking for this gold coin. And eventually, he sees through the rubble, and he can hear those words that Garnet said. The whole like, we're looking for it one more, it belongs to us, where is it? Kind of thing. We've been looking for it for so long. And eventually he sees them like tearing this stall apart. They've slashed this, and he recognizes the sort of slash marks that were across Garnet. And this stall owner is now slashed, like, running away, running towards the temple kind of thing. And he sees through the mist and the rubble this person with big claws, like holding up this gold coin that looks just like any other gold coin. But to him, it's like, what? And holding it up like, it's here, I've got it! And someone goes like, all 25 at fucking last! And it's like, what? Gold coin, what the shit? And he's like, okay, I'm solving this fucking mystery. Heads towards them, through this rubble, picking his way over the market, like, what in the actual fuck is happening? Feeling really, like, pissed the fuck off now. And sees these people like, boss! One of them's yelling at the person who's hauling all the stuff, and the other one's yelling at the boss, like, boss, what do we do? Do you want us to, should we leave? And it's like, no, we do this now! And the boss like gathers up all these gold coins, and Gothboy watches as they get all the gold coins and they place them into place on this big, huge thing in the cart that they're carrying. Like, maybe it's like a fantasy equivalent of a safe, huge, heavy thing. And he's like, what? And he realizes, I had these gold coins. It pings into place. Like, somehow I got these gold coins. That's what they were looking for. What the shit? What is worth nearly killing my totally not lover over? And they put the gold coins in, and there's this blast of magic. And maybe a couple of the, like, henchmen are, like, knocked off their feet and killed in the blast. Like, poof, powerful. And Gothboy has to, like, duck out the way. Major flashbacks happening here. Like, oh, fuck! And then, like, gets covered in rubble again. Like, fuck! Pushes it all off himself. Pulls his way out and sees the thing slowly open. And inside, there's this genie. And it's, like, a huge white billowing shape, and it pours out, and for a second it looks like a ghost made of tar and smoke, but it's all white and gloopy, and it steams, and there's more and more and more coming out, and eventually it gets taller and taller and taller as like a whole house, and this huge thing comes out, and it's vaguely got a mouth that stretches big and black and these dark eyes, and it peers down, and two big red spots like laser beams look down on the boss and one henchman who's like, "Ugh!" The only people left, and they're like, we freed you, and now as the stories say, as the rumors say, as the tales tell, those that freed you get their heart's desire. And this big genie looks down and is like, your hearts is what I desire, and reaches down and poof, drags them up into the air in one hand and holds them in front, and they're like, yes, give us our heart's desire. And this, I'm gonna say, genie god thing with the other hand reaches out and with a big pincer-like movement stabs them both in the chest and plucks their hearts out and squashes them, still beating, and then eats them, and is like, and their blood is like slowly dripping down into this like foggy mist of their body, and and then they just die and are just dropped to the floor. And as the rubble all clears, the mist swirls around, and this creature, this big god jelly genie thing, swirls up into mist, and Gothboy is like, holy shit. And slowly the red eyes turn to look at the Gothboy. And that is where I will leave this story, because I've been talking for about an hour and a half and I need to edit this video. If you'd like to hear more about this story, Gothboy and Garnet, that's what we'll call this story. If you'd like to hear more about Gothboy and Garnet, let me know in the comments down below. Where do you think this story should go? What should we name Gothboy? He'll need an original name and a brand new name. He might not have told Garnet his original name, he might have done. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you'd like me to continue this adventure or start again, do another one where you guys can pick and vote and I will lead you on through. I might get my Patreons and Instagram people to vote for a character who I then tell the story of and I can do cosplay for. Let me know anything that you would like down in the comments below. I've mentioned it a few times, so obviously if you want to, follow my Patreon. I think it starts at like $3 a month if you want to come and support me on there. Any support is immediately grateful for me because my cosplays are always on a tiny budget and I'm trying to do a lot of things this year. If you want to support the podcast, the Black Dog podcast now does have a Ko-fi. I'm slowly working on that, so not a lot's coming out just yet, but there will be in the next few months. It starts rolling forwards. And I also have the Peter Pan lore channels and everything if you'd like to go support those. There is also a Ko-fi for me as well, a Ko-fi for Morcus Noise. I'll link everything in the doobly-doo down below. So if you don't want to support the Patreon because you don't want to be committed every month, absolutely fine. Chuck me support as and can you when on the Ko-fi page. There's also my shop there as well, so if you want to purchase things, I've got a few Neverlandy things. I've got commissioned videos as well if you want to see me dressed up as Molly Mork or Kingsley or Lucian or Park or Peter Pan, giving you your own personal video. I might have to add Icarus on there. No, not Icarus, sorry. I might have to add on... Who was it I did the other day? Hermes. Might have to add Hermes on there because that was really fun. So if you'd like a personal message from Hermes, Molly Mork, Kingsley, Lucian, anyone like that, go onto my Ko-fi page and you can find that in the commission videos. All right. Thank you, my wonderful jelly spoons. I hope you had a, I'm going to say, enjoyable time with this very dark tale that I have spun for you. And support me on there. Any support is immediately grateful for me because my cosplays are always on a tiny budget and I'm trying to do a lot of things this year. If you want to support the podcast, the Black Dog podcast now does have a Ko-fi. I'm slowly working on that, so not a lot's coming out just yet, but there will be in the next few months. It starts rolling forwards. And I also have the Peter Pan lore channels and everything if you'd like to go support those. There is also a Ko-fi for me as well, a Ko-fi for Morcus Noise. I'll link everything in the doobly-doo down below. So if you don't want to support the Patreon because you don't want to be committed every month, absolutely fine. Chuck me support as and can you when on the Ko-fi page. There's also my shop there as well, so if you want to purchase things, I've got a few Neverlandy things. I've got commissioned videos as well if you want to see me dressed up as Molly Mork or Kingsley or Lucian or Park or Peter Pan, giving you your own personal video. I might have to add Icarus on there. No, not Icarus, sorry. I might have to add on... Who was it I did the other day? Hermes. Might have to add Hermes on there because that was really fun. So if you'd like a personal message from Hermes, Molly Mork, Kingsley, Lucian, anyone like that, go onto my Ko-fi page and you can find that in the commission videos. All right. Thank you, my wonderful jelly spoons. I hope you had a, I'm going to say, enjoyable time with this very dark tale that I have spun for you. And if you'd like to see me continue it, let me know in the comments down below. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Goodbye.